Hi everybody, this is Lynette Khalfani-Cox of AskTheMoneyCoach.com. I had a question from a reader who wanted to know how to get rid of their student loan debt. Here's some advice for that person and for anybody who's grappling with college bills. First of all, you want to pick the shortest student loan repayment period that you can possibly afford. If you have federal student loans, you essentially have 4 different options. There's the standard loan repayment agreement, the graduated loan repayment agreement, the extended loan repayment option, and the income contingent or income sensitive loan repayment option. Under the standard loan repayment agreement, you pay off your student loan debt in 10 years. The other options give you the opportunity to extend your student loans to as long as 12 years on the short end or up to a maximum of 30 years on the long end. Now, I know a lot of you say, wow, I don't want to have another mortgage on my back and have to pay off student loans for another 3 decades. That's one reason you need to be careful about student loan consolidation. The upside is that when you consolidate your student loans, you do improve your cash flow because you get to roll up all of those loans into one payment and stretch out the payments over a longer period of time. But of course, by doing so, the trade-off there is that you will pay more in finance charges over time. So be careful and make sure that if you do get the short-term impact of consolidation, that you don't offset that benefit with too much interest that you pay over the long haul. In addition to picking the right repayment plan, see if you can get your employer to help you pay off your student loans. This is a tip that a lot of people aren't aware of. But believe it or not, in corporate America every day, and even in the government, employers are willing to help you pay off your student loan debt. This is yet another perk that's offered to employees nationwide in every single industry. You just have to ask for it. You should simply say to your employer, if you're looking to be hired by one, would you consider repaying some of my student loans as part of my benefits package? Or you can say to an existing employer, instead of an annual bonus or in addition to my annual bonus, would you consider also paying some of my student loan debt? Employers these days are very savvy and they want to keep the best and brightest in the workforce. And so they know that offering to repay some of your student loan debt is really yet another form of compensation. And it's a way to keep the best performers, those employees that they really do want to keep on their payrolls. Finally, you can also do a lot of volunteer work. If you are a public works official, if you're a doctor, a nurse, an attorney, a social worker, those kinds of professions actually have specific programs, and I write about them in my book called Zero Debt for College Grads. Those programs will allow you to use the work that you do on a day-to-day basis, month in and month out, year in and year out, to pay off some of your student loans. Essentially, it's a form of student loan forgiveness. In exchange for you working in that given field, your student loans are gradually paid off. The federal government, as I mentioned, even has its own student loan repayment program, and it's found via the Office of Personnel Management. That website is opm.gov. But the Federal Student Loan Repayment Program is a program under which the government will actually pay off up to $60,000 worth of your student loans for you. This is for your federal student loans. Now, I know some of you are saying, okay, well, what's the catch, Lynette? How can the government pay off $60,000 worth of my student loans? There is a catch. The catch is that you have to agree to work for some agency of the federal government. But frankly, if you're in the market for a job, why not look at the government as a potential employer? You can work in a quasi-government agency like Amtrak, you can work for the Smithsonian Institute, you can work for any federal agency, and you don't have to be based in Washington, D.C. Literally any federal government or any agency of the government throughout the United States, you could, if you get a job there, potentially be eligible for the Federal Student Loan Repayment Program. So these are just a few tips to help you to pay off those student loans a lot more quickly. I know so many of you are grappling with student loan debt. The College Board says that for the class of 2011, the typical student loan debt burden tops $23,000. For folks who go on to graduate school or professional school like med school and law school, It's very common for those individuals to have 6 figures worth of debt. So if you do have the student loan debt, you want to tackle it as soon as possible. And I hope I've given you a couple of tips to help you get started doing just that.